Why hasn't NPS been popular among investors? What's new in NPS? Who should consider NPS? How is NPS taxed? Hello and welcome to Investors Hangout, your weekly guide to making smarter financial decisions. The series is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. Now, NPS has always looked great on paper, tax benefits, market returns, and low cost as well, but it somehow didn't become very popular with investors. In 2026, January 2026, something changed, and that was the forced annuity rule. So today we'll decode what that change really means for investors, and to talk about it in greater detail, we have with us our CEO Dhirendra Kumar. Welcome, Dhirendra.
Thank you.
And who better to talk about NPS than you, since you've been a member of the PFRDA advisory committee. So Dhirendra, NPS, it looks great on paper, but what has really held it back? It hasn't become very popular among investors.
It wasn't return. It wasn't tax. It was the exit and anxiety.
Yeah.
And particularly in case of NPS, the exit anxiety was even greater because NPS was initially conceptualized for the government employees, for the central government employees, and all state government followed. Government employees, their primary expectation is that they should get a pension. NPS was created primarily to shift those government employees from guaranteed pension to defined contribution. And for them, this annuity bit, which caused anxiety, this mandatory 40% annuity is very poorly priced. It is very poorly structured. And it may not be the final. And over and above that, the rising longevity of people. Government employees do retire at 60, but people are in good shape till 75, and they might be working beyond their job post-retirement, and they don't necessarily need, nobody wants that annuity being thrust upon them, and that became a huge barrier. And that is where, NPS actually became a kind of great restaurant. Everything was fine. At Value Research, you would have looked at the coverage in Mutual Fund Insight, or the NPS performance at Value Research online, which is updated every day. You look at their performance and look at the cost, there can't be it's very attractive. It is very, very impressive. More so given the guardrail that what NPS funds can never do. And it's very confidence inspiring. The only problem was it became a restaurant where the food is good, the taste is good, hygiene is fine. The only thing is that once you are done with the dinner or lunch, or once you are through with the meal, you must have this dessert, and this is not negotiable. And that was actually turning out to be a put off for most investors or NPS participants. And that, I think, is giving freedom or participants or investors a choice of doing what they want to do with it, with a substantial part of their money. Is a great step.
Right. So can you now elaborate on the change that has happened in January 2026 regarding annuity?
First and foremost, PFRDA's realization that everybody's pension requirement or retirement needs could be very different. So people need to be given a choice. We can't have one size fits all. Right. That is the primary thing. And which makes it, and that was the mindset, that is the thinking. That is the basic principle which guides that we will have now, subscribers will have less compulsion, more choice. And more choice means that and there is a PFRDA regulation, and it has to operate, it has to function in that framework. So now, two things. One is that once your retirement accumulation is below a certain threshold, you can take it out, no annuity. Second is that what was mandatory 40% has been now reduced to 20%. Besides this, even before the changes that are happening now, PFRDA initiated that up to 75, you can defer not buying annuity till 75. And then you can have accelerated periodic withdrawal, systematic withdrawal plan, lump sum withdrawal from your pension accumulation. So these are great flexibility. Within the framework where annuity is mandatory, it has been deferred to a point that you can do without it for a long time. And if at all you have to, you can do with just 20%.
Right. So it becomes a choice and not a punishment anymore.
Not a punishment.
Right.
Or perceived punishment. I don't think annuity was a punishment. It is just that annuities provided by insurance companies is very poorly structured, is very low yielding, and it looks like a penalty by the design of it. But that was the law. And but at the same time, everybody needs some kind of assured, guaranteed return or income-oriented thing, which will last a lifetime, and it is not dependent on market. So there was a guaranteed income. There's a provision of guaranteed income in your annuity, which is, I don't think it was a punishment. It was just that people given a choice and exercise it the way
how you want your
Yeah,
money to
yeah,
be used.
to be used.
Right. So the product didn't change its nature, but it changed its behavior at retirement. Now the practical question is, who should really care about it and who should still not think about NPS?
NPS makes sense for everyone. For most people, it makes eminent sense simply because it could be an added layer over and above your employee provident fund for salaried people. Some people might dislike some of the features of NPS simply because it has lock-in, it has restrictions, or your own mindset is short term. The fact that there is something which is linked to your retirement, it should be looked upon as a sacred investment which will not fiddle with. And the design of NPS and the increasing, the greater flexibility that you get now, that only 20% will be annuitized. That too, you can defer it till 75. If it is lower than a certain scale, you can take all of it. Then having that, lump sum withdrawal plan within NPS. And for all those investors who have got impressed with mutual fund for its low cost, flexibility, market linked return, which is high return, NPS delivers you all that with even lower cost, even wider choice. So I think everybody should have NPS. Some people will dislike it for some of the constraints, but I think it is important for everybody to embrace it, simply because just by calling it retirement plan, just by calling it your pension fund, you will not eye this thing for some impulse spend, some big spend, and that is going to haunt you in your retirement if you don't have enough cushion to derive income in your retirement.
Let's now talk about the part that makes most people sit up straight, the tax part. How is NPS taxed, if you could explain that in greater detail?
The tax framework for individuals in this country has changed completely. The new tax regime and old tax regime, and only in the old tax regime you have the Section 80C, which is available that up to 1.5 lakh rupees investment, and that is a deductible income for computing taxes. There was additional 50,000 rupees available for individuals for investment in NPS, and that is 80CC D1. And in new tax regime, it doesn't matter. But still, if you are a salaried employee and if your employer is contributing to NPS, your NPS account, this is the only income that you have. This is the only exclusive income that you have in this country which is tax exempt. All other income is taxable. And the 60% or 80% that you will withdraw is also tax exempt. So this makes it a very efficient.
That's also tax-free, though.
That's the tax-free.
Okay.
So that is brilliant. I don't think you have any other alternative, and one should look at it primarily for your pension kitty, your pension fund, and look beyond taxes, look beyond return, look beyond, because the design of it and the discipline, because for most other investments, investors will not take a 30-year view. They will not be disciplined with it. And this is a very important money for you, where by the design of it, by the name of it, by the structure of it, there will be a forced discipline. NPS was designed as a very attractive investment vehicle and for a certain goal. And going by the changing demographics of this country, the number of people who are no longer going to be salaried, even if you are going to be salaried, you are not going to get a lifetime employment. And uncertainty about your pension, uncertainty about your future career. I think it's very important that people choose it wisely, choose it calmly, and be disciplined about it. Keep it as a non-negotiable thing, that whatever you work, keep changing your job, keep changing your career, keep changing your track, but make sure that you start your NPS and be at it. And the way NPS is changing, or the way it has changed, and I think there are a lot of refinements needed. and plenty of it for the improvement is underway.
Well, thank you, Dhirendra, for breaking it down so clearly.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Investors Hangout. Keep watching this space for more information. If you like the show, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care. Bye for now.